Ladies and gentlemen, good day. This is Melissa, the moderator for your conference. Welcome to the conference call of RITES Limited, arranged by Concept Investor Relations to discuss its Q1 FY22 results. We have with us today Shri Gopi Suresh Kumar Varadarajan, Director Projects and Chairman and Managing Director, and Shri Bibhu Prasad, Director Finance. At this moment, all participant lines are in the listen-only mode. We will later conduct a question and answer session. If you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I would now like to hand the floor over to Shri Gopi Suresh Kumar Varadarajan, Chairman and Managing Director. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. First of all, good afternoon and greetings to all of you. I, V.G. Suresh Kumar, Chairman and Managing Director, RITES Limited, welcome you all to Investor Conference call on RITES Limited's financial result for Q1 FY22. Hope all of you are keeping safe along with your families. I have with me our Director of Finance, Sri B.P. Naik. RITES Limited is a mini Ratna Category 1 Schedule A public sector enterprises and a leading player in the transport consultancy and engineering sector in India. Having diversified services and geographical reach, RITES Limited is the only export arm to Indian Railways for providing rolling stock overseas, other than Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. The financial results, presentation, and press release has been uploaded on our website as well as the stock exchange yesterday. Hope all of you have been able to examine the same. Let me begin with the safe harbor statement. The presentation which we have uploaded on our website yesterday and discussions during the call today may have some forward-looking statements. These statements are considering the environment we see as of today and obviously carry a risk in terms of uncertainty, because of which the actual result could be different, and we do not undertake to update those statements periodically. Now I'm going to talk about the highlights of company's result for Q1 FY22, and then we can open the forum for question and answers. We are pretty much back to pre-COVID level until March, till second wave hit us in April, affecting not only business but employees' health as well. Now I will briefly talk about the consolidated first quarter 2022 results. And as you all know, almost 95% of our income is coming from standalone numbers as a part of the consolidation. So whatever I am talking about, consolidated number is relevant to standard also. The company's revenue from operation is up by 5.7% at 355 crores in Q1 FY22 as against 335 crores in Q1 FY21. Revenue growth softened mainly because of disruption caused by second wave of COVID, spillover of export shipments, and first lot of turnkey projects getting substantially completed. The company's total revenue on consolidated basis has remained flat at 377 crores as against 379 crores in Q1 FY21. Flat total revenue can be attributed to decrease in other income on account of decrease in interest income and reversal of provision in Q1 FY21. Core EBITDA stands at 97 crores against 60 crores, up by 61.6% on account of consultancy and leasing growth. PAT stands at rupees 78 crores against rupees 65 crores, up by 19.8%. Core EBITDA and PAT margins were sustained at 27.3% and 20.6%. The earnings per share stands at rupees 3 as compared to last year's 2 rupees 51 paisa. Coming to segment now, consultancy. Consultancy achieved a revenue of 204 crores against rupees 185 crores in Q1 FY21, up by 10.6% with sustained margin of 40.8%. Consultancy improved mainly due to increase in foreign income. However, growth in domestic consultancy business got softened by the second wave of COVID and less procurement by client impacted the quality assurance business. Leasing. Company's leasing business has attained the pre-COVID level growth, and Q1 FY22 revenue stands at rupees 32 crores as against rupees 24 crores in Q1 FY21. Leasing business margin has remained healthy at 41.5%. Exports. Exports revenue has spilled over to Q2 FY22. 30 coaches which were up at port as on 30th June 21 has been shipped out in Q2 FY22 and has already reached the destination. Out of the remaining export orders, 2 locomotives for Mozambique and 40 coaches to Sri Lanka are ready for shipment. Turnkey construction. Revenue from turnkey construction projects stands at 95 crores in Q1 FY22 against rupees 114 crores in Q1 FY21. Turnkey revenue got impacted due to COVID disruption and first phase of turnkey projects getting substantially completed. However, revenue from recently secured electrification and new line projects to start reflecting in coming quarters. Coming to REMCL Limited, the revenue and profit of REMCL Limited has reached the pre-COVID level, and the revenue standing at rupees 25 crores against 15 crores in Q1 FY21, and profit after tax at rupees 12 crores against rupees 5 crores in Q1 FY21. Dividend. Board of Directors have declared rupees 2 per share of dividend. Order book. The company's consolidated order book now stands at 6,925 crores as of 30/6/2021, which is the highest ever for the company. During the quarter, company secured new or extension of orders of about 1,000 crores. We are continuously adding on to our order book and confident of achieving steady growth on account of efficient order execution. With this, now we can open the forum for question and answers, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please enter star and 1 on your telephone keypad and wait for your turn to ask the question. If your questions have been answered and you wish to withdraw yourself from the queue, you may enter star and 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, you may enter star and 1. We have the first question from the line of Arafat Syed from Reliance Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for taking my question. So my first question is on the revenue part. I just want to understand what kind of growth you're looking for FY22 and what would be the major segment that drives the growth.
As I pointed out, the major segment for driving the growth would be exports. The exports has spilled over from the previous year, and contractually we are to complete our export orders, which is of the tune of around 1,300 crores. We are focused on getting this order executed, so we expect that at least 80% of this export order will be executed and will make a revenue share which will be substantial as a driving factor. Our consultancy segment is growing and we have enough orders to execute. The consultancy segment is also on. The QA has also reached the pre-COVID level, so we find that the QA will also contribute adding up the consultancy revenue. Our leasing is also in line, but our turnkey segment, which has the first phase of turnkey segment is almost closing, and the new orders which we have secured recently will be taking up from the third quarter. So I feel that there will be a reduction in the turnkey segment, but overall we find that the position would be a little greater than the pre-COVID situation. Will be slightly higher than the pre-COVID financial numbers. Am I clear? It's okay?
Yeah. And sir, my second question is on the railway expansion and the capex on the railway side from the government of India. So we can throw some light on that. What kind of capex they're looking, and if you can guide on that and where it will be spending, that would be great, sir.
Our railways have made a very ambitious capex plan even for this financial year, around little about 2 lakhs crore. Basically, it is for electrification, signal and telecommunication, doubling and new lines, and also this time there is a big amount of target given for the production units to produce around 750 locos and combination of coaches. So, and there's an effective follow-up on this targets. So, I feel that this target has an element to chip in, particularly for the QA. We have already got the electrification orders for around 2,000 crores, and our turnkey for new lines is around 4,000 crores. With this, we should be able to take it forward and sustain this turnkey business for 3 to 4 years, as well as the QA would give us some amount of comfort in the bottom line.
Fine, sir. That's it from my side. I will be back again the field.
Thank you. Before we move to the next question, we would request participants to use their handsets while asking a question. We have the next question from the line of Chintan Sheth from Sameeksha Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes,
very much.
Yeah, thanks. So, sir, one on the new turnkey projects we got, which are new lines project, 4,000 odd crore. Those are the new line of business which we haven't received or executed earlier. And typically, new lines are the high gestation projects which require more than 5 years of timeline to complete. Can you elaborate on the timeline of those new project execution? How long we have to, for how long we will require to execute them? And second, you mentioned that 80% of the export order will be executed this year. So suffice to say that the entire Sri Lankan project and large part of the Mozambique project will get executed, and small portion of Mozambique will get executed spill over to next year.
Yes. The new railway projects are new lines. I mean, these are green projects, not brownfield projects. These are greenfield projects.
Correct.
So there is some amount of land acquisition also involved, and it has been awarded recently. There is some amount of modification or rechecking of the estimates and sanction of the estimates. So these new projects to take off, it will take at least 6 months' time to take off. And this will get completed in, as you rightly said, 4 to 5 years' time. The first phase of turnkey project which we are having, which is near completion, but still we have some residual works for the station development as well as for one railway line, which will be around 300 to 350 crores. So that will carry forward for us in the second and third quarter. And by that time, I think we should be able to start off the new lines. However, the electrification works which has been awarded a little bit earlier, they are now coming to the phase of execution, and by the third or fourth quarter, we should expect some revenue from the electrification projects. So with that, the new lines we can just comfortably take that it will go for 4 to 5 years' time. The second question on exports, you have rightly said that we will be able to complete all the Sri Lankan orders, and there is a possibility that a part of the Mozambique orders may get slipped to the next financial year. This is happening because of the restrictions and some critical spare parts. These are Cape Gauge locos, which we have been doing for the first time, and some critical parts are expected from other countries, and there are some small delays here and there. So I think with that, anyhow, 80%.
Sir, your voice is cracking. I'm not able to get what you are saying. If you can.
Okay. So I rightly said that export 80% will get completed by this year, and the Sri Lankan orders will get completed because they are already the broad gauge engines and locos and carriages which is being done as a routine matter. The 20% segment will get delayed in the Mozambique because a new segment which we have entered, the Cape gauge, and it is dependent on certain spares which are critical to be imported. And so I feel it may slip, but we are making our efforts to see that this also is done within this financial year.
Sure. And lastly, on the RLDA side, a lot of traction is getting from the station development and a lot of projects being handed over to RLDA. Any color on what kind of revenues and what kind of potential we are looking at in that subsidiary?
Yes, RLDA is also connected with Station Development Corporation. There was some sluggishness initial phase, but with the success of Gandhinagar and Habibganj getting completed, now there is some visibility in this type of module, and additional stations have been added up for expansion. Around 49 stations have been now taken up for expansions. There would be good progress in this in coming future.
Any revenue number or anything you would like to highlight? What can it contribute to our profitability?
Numbers I can't say, but 49 stations have been added up for station development.
Sure, sir. I'll join back in. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Venkatesh Subramaniam from Logic Tree. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good evening. My question is, we have a 11,000 crore order book at the moment. Could you please give us an idea what is the execution time frame for this 11,000 crore, number one. Number two, if you could just throw some light on what kind of orders did you expect for the current financial year?
11,000 crores order, suppose if we take the pre-COVID level and the growth which we were trying to do from the pre-COVID level, so averaging out, I think it should be the tune of around 3,000 crores. So 3,000 crores means we should have a visibility, the orders for around 3 to 4 crores is available with us for execution. And having consolidated this order book, now our focus is more on project execution and targeting business on the international consultancy. We have already started submitting our bids. We have got some favorable results, and we are putting more emphasis on international bidding, overseas bidding, and as well concentrating on getting some export orders. We have developed the standard gauge loco also. Recently, it has also been completed. So our geographical reach for locos and rolling stock has moved from Southeastern Asian countries to African countries and now to Middle East countries also. So we will focus more on getting some export orders as well as domestic market in the metros and international markets for railway as well as highway consultancy.
Some sort of a number, sir, which is what kind of order prospects for this year, roughly, some estimate?
We have been getting orders in a regular way for consultancy around 200 to 300 crores every quarter. I think that will continue. As we are closing down consultancy, we'll be adding up orders also. And the export orders are something which we are looking at. Maybe we should strike something in the African countries of the same tune of around 1,000 crores in the next year at least.
Right, sir. So REMCL, renewable. So is that in say 3 to 4 years? How large can REMCL be, sir?
REMCL this quarter has been the highest turnover of 25 crores. If you can see our earlier, we were doing around 80 to 90 crores. We were doing REMCL in the pre-COVID situation, and the inflow was almost steady. One was the power procurement for Indian Railways, which was also constant, and the power generation of the windmill, which was a variable element. And now with the ambitious plan of Indian Railways going 100%, the earlier requirement of around 4,000 to 4,800 megawatt of power procurement will get multiplied by at least 2 times. Therefore, we anticipate in the next 4 years, there could be a requirement of 9,000 megawatts of power requirement, which will take us through, and the windmill will be constant. So we think we should have around 15% growth in the next, so 60% level should be there. Maybe there'll be a 15% growth. I feel that 60%.
15% CAGR, sir? 50% you mean?
15% CAG for 4 years, around 60% growth is anticipated in REMCL.
All right, sir. Last question, sir. What is the current cash in the balance sheet, sir, as of 30th June?
It's around 740 crores as our cash in the balance sheet.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Kunal Sheth from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, sir. My first question is pertaining to the consultancy segment. Sir, I just wanted some clarity in terms of revenue. Last time we had mentioned that, in consultancy, we will be able to grow this year over FY20's base. So, do we still hold that guidance, or just wanted to check on that, sir?
Yes, we should hold it because the gray area in consultancy which affected due to COVID was the quality assurance, and now we are once again coming back to the normalcy, and the quality assurance is coming back to its pre-COVID level. With the additional revenue of the overseas consultancy, we should be able to sustain the growth which we were earlier making.
Okay. And secondly, sir, you mentioned that the export order book, what part of it is executable in the current year?
I said around 80%, maybe around 900 crores would get executed in the current year.
About 900 crores. Okay, sure, sir. Sure. That was my questions. Thank you so much, and best of luck for the future quarters.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Parimal Machani from an investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me, sir? I'm clear.
Yes, very much.
Okay. Yeah, so one is, I have recently, one of your PSU concerns called Braithwaite has got award of 5,000 wagons from Russia, basically. I just wanted to know, since we have a JV with SAIL for supply of wagons, how do we compete with it? And and I think we are not, we are restricted to few countries not to supply, but the rest of the world we can supply. Is my logic correct on that, sir?
Yes, we have a joint venture company with SAIL Kulti we are manufacturing wagons for Indian Railways. Our production capacity is around 1,000 wagons in a year.
Yeah.
We are trying to leverage this expertise and our facility for bidding for the rolling stock or wagon business. ADB is calling for some tenders. International tenders are coming up. But what is being stuck is that they require an export credential, which currently we are lacking. We have not exported our wagons elsewhere. So if we can join hands with somebody who has already exported, maybe we can be able to take this forward for other customers also.
So my question is in terms of how, since we have, if I'm not mistaken, the type of IPO, it was mentioned that export will be a good area going ahead for foreseeable future. So how do we compete with the Braithwaite, and if you can just throw a light, so I know if you can just help us in understanding it, and do you have similar lines of...
No, we are making efforts. We'll be submitting our first bid very shortly for an ADB project. We'll try to know our numbers and where we have to strengthen ourselves.
Okay, sir. Okay, but is there a bifurcation between both the companies where they can bid and where you cannot bid? I just wanted to understand that, so if you can help me out.
No, nothing like that. Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand, it's another counterpart of our railway ministry had been supplying, so we thought that we should not have conflicts between ourselves. That's all.
Okay. Okay. So secondly, I wanted in terms of your turnkey and consultancy business, I think the turnkey side of the business will be order book is heavier now. And how do you see consultancy? Because that has been our main business going ahead. And how do you foresee in next 3-4 years from this?
The turnkey order book comes in a particular duration. Now we have the second phase turnkey, and we cannot expect same level of turnkey year to year. So turnkey will be continuing. It has a longer completion time, whereas consultancy has a very shorter completion time. Sometimes the consultancy is even 3 months, sometimes 6 months. Maybe 60% of our consultancy is between 3 to 6 months, except for the GC and PMC which is going on. And in the same phase, we start getting orders also. If you see that we have got around 45 new works in consultancy, which tends amount to every second day we are getting some order. I'm not the size may be small, but still we are getting jobs. So the consultancy will move on in this fashion, and turnkey will be a long lead item. So it could be balanced. And with our international consultancy, I think the matter is how to balance the top line and the bottom line. That we'll be working on it.
Okay, sir. And sir, in terms of consultancy, you suffered a little bit of, because of the COVID, the quality assurance business was not there this time. So how do you see going forward? For instance, even if we...
the last 2 months have brought us near to the pre-COVID situation. So we anticipate that if the same situation exists, if there is no third wave effect, then I think we should be able to sail through.
Okay, sir. Okay, thanks for the answer. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Jonas Bhutta from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. A couple of questions. Firstly, wanted to understand when you made this comment where you are expecting your
Mr.
turnkey
Bhutta,
revenues.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we are not able to hear you clearly.
Yes.
Is this better now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. So just wanted to pick on your comment where you said that your turnkey revenues in FY22 may in fact decline. I'm just curious to know because you started the year with a backlog of 2,200 crores, which is more or less where it was in FY20. And in FY21, despite the COVID challenges, you ended up doing about 600 odd crores kind of top line. Just wanted to know why with the same backlog we are building in lower sales, despite having a 3-year visibility on a 2,200 crore backlog, you can easily sort of do about 700 plus kind of crores of revenue. So wanted to understand the logic behind, on this first one.
Actually, we had the electrification works and doubling works plus some station development works which were awarded somewhere between 2016-17, and with the normal estimation and all, effectively these works started to get executed in 18. And we were making a revenue in turnkey works to the tune of around 600 to 700 crores year on. So the 2,200 crores or whatever was there, it is almost 1,800 crores to 1,900 crores is under completion. And what is left with us now is some station development work, some workshop works. The electrification works are completed. The one doubling work is completed, and the other doubling work is in the advanced stage of completion. So the residual work, whichever is available with us, we hope to complete it, and it may give us a revenue of around 300 to 400 crores. This is what I am anticipating currently. And by the third or fourth quarter, we should be able to commence the next phase of turnkey. That is the electrification work for which we have awarded, the agencies are fixed. They should be able to give us revenue. So I am not counting much on turnkey in this financial year because export is going to give me that gap filling. So I think with this we should be able to cross over the pre-COVID and then look forward for the next year for further incremental revenue.
So you're saying that out of a 2,200 crore kind of opening order book, you will recognize just about 300-400 crores of sales this year?
Yeah, this 2,200 crore is a recently awarded 1,800 crores of electrical work. The electrical works, RE works got awarded around, say, the fourth quarter, I think, fourth quarter. 300 crores. Yeah, 600 this quarter.
No, sir, we didn't win any major. So the only biggest order that we won, I think, was in Q2 of last year of about 600-700 crores roughly.
Yeah, 600-700 crores. And this quarter we have consolidated around 600 crores of RE work. This quarter, the Q1, around 600 odd crores we have RE work.
Fine, sir. I'll take this offline. Okay. My second question was on exports. So, like you mentioned that you first developed Sri Lanka and then you moved towards Africa and now Middle East. So from a 1 to 2 year perspective, do you currently have any bids or any projects that you're working on which you can share with us that could potentially lead to order inflows either in the current or the next year? So once you're done with this 1,300 crore backlog effectively by first half of next year, do you have bids in the pipeline which you think can come in?
Yes, there are three to four countries in Africa with whom we are already having discussions. I think that should come through. 1 or 2 should come through.
Okay. And the tentative size should be about $100 million each.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. Yes.
Understood. And my last question, sir, was to understand, on the internationalization of your consultancy services business. So while we've already started to win orders in Nepal and Bangladesh, can you elaborate on, today what percentage of our consultancy book is international, and is there a target that we are working with where we want to take it to a higher percentage, and how do we get there? If you can elaborate on that. Thank you.
1 second. The percentage so far, I think it should be around 10% should be our consultancy, overseas consultancy, putting Bangladesh, Mauritius and some other countries which we are working on. Out of this,
right.
It should be around 10%.
And any target where you want to take this, sir, or you expect this to remain in that 10%?
I have a very ambitious targets because we have been bidding for many projects and we are shortlisted and winning it, getting ourselves positioned technically high. So with a little bit of fine tuning of our financials, I feel that we should be able to win much more projects. With that inputs with me, I feel that we should take our consultants at least to a level of 20%.
Understood. And lastly, if I can squeeze in one more, sir. So the export execution that we are going to see in the current year, does it open, and given that we've seen the sharp run up in metal prices or commodity prices, does this in any way impact the profitability of the Sri Lankan and the Mozambique order in any form or format, sir?
Some slight impact maybe, but mostly the steel part, the chassis and all these things have been done. Of course, the steel price got shooted up over the past 3 to 4 months and then it has come down a bit. But most of our fabrication work was over. It is more of the finishing work which is now left with us. So I don't find a big hit on it. We will be able to sail through with the same margins.
So about 25% kind of margins on exports can be expected.
Every segment, every like a coach, DMU, loco, everyone has a different profit line and profit percentage. It depends on what we are shipping and how we are going to manage it.
Understood. Thank you, sir, and all the very best.
Thank you. Hello. Are you able to hear me?
Sir, I'm sorry. We are able to hear you now. The next question is from the line of Harshit Kapadia from Elara Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, sir. Thanks for taking my question. So, with this, getting a very high order inflow of 4,000 crores, would the working capital model remain the same, where the funds will be provided by the Indian Railways, or would RITES be using our own working capital to finance this project?
No, Mr. Harshit, it will remain the same. The railways would be giving us the initial advances. There's nothing going from our capex.
Okay, that's good. And second thing is related to margins of this order. So, would we anticipate increase in the EBIT margin level, which generally is around 2 to 3%? So, with this higher order inflow and with a better execution, with better volumes, can we move towards 4-5% margins for this segment, or will it remain at 3%?
Anticipate a higher margin. First of all, we have got this work under bidding, and we have taken it at a bit higher margin. And because of the volume, the overheads are going to be, the percentage of overheads will be reduced, and with some efficient working, we should make some higher margins, not like the earlier ones.
Okay. And sir, if you can also highlight any big order opportunity you have on the consultancy side, especially from the Indian Railways, any large project that you envisage which could be coming in this year or next 1 or 2 years?
Actually, the COVID had pushed all the tendering activities by a year. So almost around 6 to 7 metro projects were to be were called for, and we have submitted our bids very recently. We are awaiting the results, and I'm hoping and praying that we should click 1 or 2 projects. That will give us a good higher value of consultancy in India.
Okay. Anything on the the suburban railway station or high-speed rail or semi-high-speed trains? Anything on that front as well?
High speed, we are just waiting. Actually, RITES is a diversified organization. If one door closes, we can open up the other door. Still, nothing has been concluded in concrete, so we're just waiting for it and see which door we can open up.
Understood, sir. And just a final question on the solar project side. Can you update on what is the status of that 2.6 gigawatt of solar project that we were supposed to be undergoing?
Solar project, the initial capex mode of 400 megawatts has been reduced. We have reconsidered the land and the visibility, and it has been reduced to 200 megawatt. And even earlier, the 1600 PPP mode has also reduced to around 740 megawatt. And the 600 megawatt has also come down to 400 megawatt. Now the tenders are on, and now we hope that we'll get some good positive response.
But why has the project size been reduced? Was it only because of land, or is there any other issue you are facing?
Actually, the clusters of land, has not been taken. I mean, there are certain clusters of land which is not having the approaches. There was a dispute between the bidders. Bidders were asking us to do the approaches and, land development, which was not addressed very precisely in the contract. So then we thought that instead of keeping it hanging, better to go for those lands which are already having the right of way and other development facilities, and we can work on the remaining part, that who has to do, whether railways will do or the developer will do. That will come in the second phase.
So what you're telling me is the only investment amount where RITES would be involved is only for a 200 megawatt solar project, where you would be putting your equity.
Yes.
Yeah, which would be called, let's say, 150 odd crores. 100 odd crores for that.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. And all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Kunal Sheth from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Again, sir, sorry to harp on this about this turnkey project. Sir, you mentioned about degrowth, but did you mention that then this year we will only be taking up only 300-400 crores of revenue? Because usually the timelines of the project are 2 to 3 years. So does that mean that next year we'll see significant bunching up?
Next year we'll see significant bunching up. This year we'll be closing down our existing turnkey. The residual turnkey will be closed down, and there'll be a significant bunching up from the next financial year on turnkey.
Okay, but this year you said it will be close to 400 crores.
Yeah, close to 400 crores.
But sir, as Jonas was asking, this order book is from FY20. So contractually, are these projects back-ended, or we are seeing some delay in any of these projects?
No, as per the timeline, we are closing down. There are two segments I have to explain now. One is the doubling the electrification is on time and it is getting completed. We have certain workshop projects, we have certain station development projects. There is a timeline, but these are attached with the allocation of fund by the Indian Railways. So based on the allocation of fund, the progress is going. It is a non-priority work for Indian Railways, and that's why there is a delay in the execution of these projects. And as and when the fund is allocated, we start executing these projects. These are the resident projects now left with us. And the electrification work which we got, that is about to take off, and the present turnkey work which we have got, it will take off another 3 to 4 months. It will be at the fourth quarter onwards. We'll start, building up the revenue.
Oh, okay. Fair enough, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Jainam Shah from Equirus Securities Private Limited. Please go ahead. Mr. Shah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, I wanted to know more about the export. As we know that some export of Q4 has been rolled over to Q1, but during this Q1 as well, we are not seeing much of an export. So you guided for the 900 crore of export orders. So can we have some quarterly timeline, like how much we are going to have in this Q2 and then Q3 and Q4?
Yeah, we have made up our plans. We should be doing around 250 to 300 in Q2 and around 300 to 350 in Q3, and remaining we'll be able to catch up in Q4.
Okay. Yes, sir. And sir, one more thing about this consultancy EBIT margin. As we were seeing that it was hovering around 40% during last year as well, and since last Q4 and this Q1 it was around 40%. So what is our guidance going forward, like whether it will be in the range of this 40% or it is just 1 or 2 quarter thing?
The impact is because of our QA business, down in QA business. Once that picks up, I think we should be in a level to come to that expectation.
Okay. And even for this turnkey project, it was hovering around 3 to 4%. However, during this quarter, it was around 2%. So what is we are expecting going forward?
It is a volume and a fixed cost. Once we do more revenue, the fixed cost gets reduced and we make a bigger margin.
Okay.
Now the fixed cost has become high.
Okay. So the revenue during this 1Q in this turnkey segment was around 50% lower QOQ. So that's why the fixed cost has increased and that has reduced the margin. Okay. And sir, what will be our capex guidance for the full year, and what has been done during the 1Q?
See, our capex is around 740 crores. Of that, 500 will be required for our working capital, advance tax, and dividends or something like that. And 100 crores already we are committed for our office building in Calcutta, then Lucknow, and in Gurgaon facilities. So 100 is there, which we are keeping reserve for our REMCL capex solar projects. That's it. We are almost closing down our capex.
Okay.
And 50 for locos. 50 for loco. Our leasing is expanding, so we like to put some capex on the leasing element.
Okay. Thank you so much. Just the last question about the revenue for FY 23, as we see that.
Mr. Shah, please be a little loud, sir. We cannot hear you clearly.
Yeah. Okay. So basically was telling about the FY 23 revenue guidance, like we'll be having around 900 crores of exports for FY 22, which will be having our total revenue of around 3,000 crores for FY 22. So, what will be the exports for FY 23? Are we envisaging any orders, new orders, and that too will be able to book in FY 23, or the revenue top line as a whole will be in the same line and there will not be much of growth for FY 23?
No, the turnkey will be supplementing the export. Export orders we'll be getting in FY 23, but we cannot export it in FY 20. It has its own timeline. So that will get forwarded to the next subsequent. But because of our turnkey order and huge volume, that will be supplementing and complementing, and so that we'll maintain our top line as per the desired growth which we are anticipating.
Okay. And sir, exports we are having margin of around 25%, and in turnkey it will be around 3 to 4%. So that will be impacting the EBITDA level slightly.
Hoping that our consultancy margins should be balanced so that we maintain the bottom line also.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's it from my side.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Keshav Garg from CCIPL. Please go ahead.
Sir, wanted to understand why our export order book is flat since the past 5 years at around 13 crore only. Sir, so basically, are we getting only those export orders that Government of India is funding, or are we getting export orders through competitive bidding in private sector projects also?
The export order was not flat. I think it is 1,300 crores export order we had. We had taken it during 2019, I think. And the development of a new prototype, everything takes some time. So we were targeting to complete this one in this financial year, and we will be almost completing 80% of it, slipping over 10% for the next financial year. So long export orders were driven by line of credit only. But now we are not really, taking that as yes, it's okay. We have started now bidding for ADB projects and other projects. Wherever the opportunities are available, we have started bidding. So in near future, you will be seeing that we are competing with the private players, or maybe we will be collaborating also with private players in winning some projects. So that is in line. It is in our thought process, and that is in line.
So that is very reassuring to know, sir. We hope that our export order book picks up. And sir, also, now, last year we did a share buyback. So I hope you do a share. Sir, what is happening that government is doing OFS, offer for sale, and government is selling stock below market price. So the stock is under pressure. So instead, if we do a share buyback at near the current market price, then sir, shareholders, there is no incentive to subscribe to buyback offer at market price. So government can subscribe to almost 90-95% of the share buyback, and plus government will get 23% buyback tax also. Sir, so it's a win-win situation. Sir, so please consider a share buyback instead of offer for sales. Now, sir, my next question is, sir, regarding, sir, recently you got turnkey orders, which is basically project management consultancy, what RVNL does, and RVNL got some 60 crore of consultancy orders. So basically you are fighting amongst each other. So the concern is that whether the 50% margin in domestic consultancy, whether that will be maintained or not going forward.
No, it is different. Our consultancy is different, and RVNL is having PMCs for executing their projects. That is different. Our consultancy is quite diversified in various fields. We in airport, highway, ports, buildings. So ours are quite much diversified, and we are not fighting in between those consultancy which in between RVNL. The turnkey jobs of railways, which was earlier being given on nomination basis, have now come into competitive mode, and we are bidding, and these orders have been taken on the competitive mode.
Sir, so basically, sir, I understand that all the non-railway consultancy work that you are doing, RVNL can do nothing about that. Sir, but as far as the railway work consultancy is concerned, sir, over there, if there is competition with RVNL and IRCON, so then what happens to our margin in the railway consultancy side?
No, see, IRCON and RVNL, they are construction companies under Ministry of Railways, and they are doing core business of railways. IRCON has some amount of highways, but RITES is different. We are a basically consultancy organization with a diversified portfolio, and now after it was a type of pilot that we took up turnkey, and since we have completed this project in time, we have the advantage, and we have proven that we are able to do turnkey also. So we are able to bag and get some projects. And we don't want to take big projects like RVNL and IRCON. We want to have a limited turnkey to keep our top line intact, and also focus on consultancy to keep our bottom line intact.
Okay, sir, that is very reassuring to know. Sir, please consider a share buyback instead of dividend. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Rohit from Antique. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for this opportunity. So can you directionally guide us where this turnkey or as a percentage of order backlog would look like? Do you have further orders in pipeline? How big will it be in maybe some 2 to 3 years down the line?
No, we don't have any orders in pipeline. The focus would be to execute these orders so that we keep our turnkey business in the tune of 35 to 40% and concentrate and build up more orders to have the diversified field in the other segments. We like to maintain this blend. We don't want to take more and concentrate on that work, forgetting our real core strength.
So in terms of consultancy, the core business, I understand some export orders you are looking at $100 billion. Can you quantify the consultancy part? How big the opportunity is there for you in the near term?
Consultancy, the ideal would be 50%, but it may vary between 35 to 45%. The ideal consultancy, we like to have it at 50%. It all depends on how much we are able to, like the metro which we are bidding, how much we are able to win these contracts. It depends on that.
Sir, can you quantify any number, as in how big is that addressable opportunity?
The consultancy opportunity keeps coming to us. We have been executing consultancy to the tune of around 1100 to 1200 crores, and we have been adding up equivalent order books also year on. We have been growing with consultancy with 8 to 10 to 12%, executing them and recouping them also. So we like to try and take forward this trend.
Okay, so on an average, maybe it may grow 5 to 10% year-on-year basis.
Year-on-year, yes.
Sure, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Lokesh Mahajan from Gallon Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. My first question was if you are seeing any pressure of the recent rise in commodity prices in execution of projects, or government delaying projects that are coming out in the pipeline. So any pressure you're seeing on that front, or government delaying projects or renegotiating contracts for that matter?
We didn't come across government delay or renegotiation. Basically, the impact of commodity cost that comes on our turnkey projects, where agencies are protected with certain price variation clauses, so they get compensated to certain extent. But as far as the rights business is concerned, since we are charging a fee on top of the actual execution cost, so we are not getting affected by the commodity costing.
No, but would that impact the introduction of new projects by the government? Would they go back and relook given the increasing prices?
No. The government is having very ambitious plans, and they are going through, and I don't think so. It will impact the government's decision in any matter.
Okay. And secondly, sir, what is the growth rate that you're targeting in the consultancy business, both domestic and international, in the next 3 to 5 years? A broad idea.
We should be growing at 8 to 10% is what is our from the past experience. I think we should grow at 8 to 10%.
This would be driven by international or domestic?
Domestic is there, and international we are finding it. After winning 2 contracts, we are hopeful that we'll be able to win more contracts.
All right. That's it from my side, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Venkatesh Subramanian from Logic Tree. Please go ahead.
Sir, could you give us an idea on 2 things? So one is for FY22, as per the last call, we were looking at pre-COVID levels. Would it be safe to assume a top line of about 2,800 to 3,000 crore top line for FY22?
Around that 2006. I think we should equate pre-COVID with a 5 to 6% growth. 8 to 10, maybe that would be a safer one.
Okay, 8 to 10% on a better case scenario. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Right. The second question is, you were talking about the metro orders that are getting up. So which is like you talked about 5 to 7 metro orders. What is the size of the opportunity, and if we secure say 2 of that, what kind of quantum will be that, sir? The order size?
So just give me a moment. We've lost the line for the management. Kindly stay connected.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Chorus Call conference operator. We now have the line for the management reconnected. Mr. Subramaniam, please could you repeat your question?
So yeah, my question was, so can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Yeah. Right. So you're talking about some prospective orders coming up for about 6 to 7 metros. So if assuming that we are able to secure 1 or 2 orders, what will be the quantum of one order, sir?
Generally, the metro sizes are bidded with a combination of partners. It varies from 150 crores to 250 crores. So 3 partners are there. So every metro should give us around 40 to 45 crores of business.
Okay, sir. Great. Thank you, sir. That's all from my side. Yeah.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, please enter star and 1. We have the next question from the line of Keshav Garg from CCIPL. Please go ahead.
Sir, you just said that you expect the domestic consultancy business to grow by 8-10% per annum. Sir, but if you see then railway capex itself is growing by, let's say, 20-25% CAGR, and plus all the metro and transportation road sector is growing far higher. So then why are we only our consultancy business is growing by in single digits when the sector itself is growing in, let's say, double of that rate?
See, in a consultancy business, the railway capex growth is not correlated with our consultancy business. So the turnkey business is correlated with what we are getting in the railway capex. The consultancy business of the railways which we are doing is the coal connectivity projects for NTPC, Coal India and all these things. So most of these projects are in the finishing line. I mean, NTPC is in the finishing line. We have a number of coal connectivity projects along with us, which is giving us the consultancy or feasibility, DPR, PMC, etc. But we don't have such projects in the railway capex. So thereby, that extent of growth is not foreseen. And metro, of course, metro is there. There are around 4 or 5 international players. There are 4 or 5 domestic players, and it's a competitive, stiff competition is going on. So we'll be able to. Am I audible?
Sir, yes, please go ahead.
We'll be able to chip in around say 10 to 15% of that segment. That was it's a moderate growth. It's not a very huge growth until we get some other projects in the airport or port which we are eyeing. So till such time, I think this consultancy growth of 8 to 10% is a good growth.
Sure. Sir, and just to get clarity about what you were talking about, the competition in this consultancy side of our in our domestic consultancy. Sir, so are we getting consultancy orders on nomination basis, at least from the railways, or now even consultancy projects are being bidded out and RVNL rights and everybody else is bidding for railway consultancy?
Yeah, as I told you, this project which we got is under competition. The nomination of works has been stopped by the government. Whatever works we are getting it on a competitive mode.
Sir, so even consultancy, I'm not talking about turnkey.
Even consultancy, except for few coal projects where we have a long-term MOU, all other projects we are taking on competitive mode.
So basically, whatever current margins we are doing in domestic consultancy, it is already, those orders have come through competitive bidding. So, I mean, it is nothing new that is happening. It is not happening going forward. It is already in our existing numbers.
2 years before it was not the case. 2 years before we were getting certain consultancies on nomination basis, but now it has stopped and we are in a competitive mode.
So, but the orders that we are booking now,
it's mostly competitive mode. It's almost competitive mode.
So basically what I'm trying to understand that these margins should be maintainable and not reduced due to basically competitive bidding.
Actually, competitive bidding is there. Everybody is bringing down the rates, and the market is also the consultant rates also are coming down. It is not that we bid a project at a lower rate and we are giving a consultant the same cost. It is also coming down. So as the expertise increases, the manpower is available to work at a comparatively lower cost. Like that, we are maintaining the margin along with the competition.
So our employee strength is also reducing, so that is very encouraging, and productivity per employee is increasing, sir. But so since our core business consultancy will grow in single digits, and sir, we are in a high inflation country, sir. So until you do a share buyback and our number of shares reduces, so then it's very hard to see our earning per share really increase without a buyback. So please consider that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Gopal Bansal from SML. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for a good performance. I was just seeing your presentation order book position. You have order book as on 30th June in the breakdown. Consultancy 2,531 crores. So these orders, these consulting, one is why there is a backlog, because there can be backlog in turnkey projects, as you explained, that railways have to do allocation of funds, then you can start turnkey projects. But why in consulting there is so much backlog? Secondly, if these consulting projects are on bidding basis or on a competitive basis obtained, then we fear there will be a margin pressure or when you execute these consulting projects of which are backlog of 2,531 crores. So can you please explain that?
Actually, what you see as 2,500 is not backlog. It's recouping of a portion of order. Now, consultancy, there are two segments in it. One is fast track segment, other is a long lead segment. Say a PMC, consultancy of PMC, it goes on a long lead. The GC consultant, what we do for metro is we place consultant, we place expert, and it is a monthly payment basis that also goes in a long lead. So you can split it up that 40% of this consultancy is a long lead item, which is prolonging, and 60% is a short duration consultancy. Our QA is only a 3 months duration. We don't take a consultancy order for QA at all. We only say 3 months consultancy what we have. So these orders keep coming and getting executed. A DPR, feasibility study, these are all duration of 3 to 6 months. So we get this order, we complete it, it is closed. We get another order. So what you see this 2,500, maybe over the period, if you have noticed, it would have been in the range of 2,000 to 2,500. But we have been executing around 1,000 crores, 1,000 and odd, 1,000 plus crores of consultancy work year on year. So you have to view it in that manner.
So is the amount 2,531 crore, is the revenue which we will get, gross revenue in consulting? So if it is 3 to 6 months,
then on execution we will get this revenue.
So then, our revenue should be more. Now, if these are to be executed in 1 or 2 years, then our revenue should go up substantially.
Actually, you see, I'm telling you, this is a consolidated figure of 2,500. This has got almost more than 200 consultancy going on.
Okay.
Okay, each order is completed and we get another order.
So that's why the revenue should be much higher, no, from consulting. If that much orders are going on.
48% earning is a very positive earning. We cannot have much more than that.
No, earning I understand 40%, but revenue should increase. That was my question. And we hope that it grows.
Amount of consultancy we are executing year on year. We should be able to have an order booking equivalent or more than that to sustain. And we are sustaining it.
Sir, how much consulting revenue we can expect this financial year and next 1 or 2 years?
Around 1,100 to 1,100 we should expect this year.
This year, okay. And
10% growth. Already in the first quarter we had 10% growth. We are anticipating the same growth.
Okay, that's good. But my second question was whether if these consulting projects which are in the order book are mostly taken on bidding process, whether there is a challenge on the existing margins, which we had executed earlier projects which were on nomination basis, but now everything is on bidding basis, so we'll have a challenge on the margin going forward.
This challenge we are reducing elsewhere. We have taken economy measures. So many other things we are doing to keep our target margins intact.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, you may enter star and 1. As there are no further questions, I would like to hand the call over to the management for their closing comments. Thank you all for being a part of the conference call. If you need any further information or clarification, please email gaurav.g@conceptpr.com. Sir, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the patient hearing. Thank you all.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your conference for today. Thank you for using the Chorus Call conferencing service. You may now disconnect your line. Thank you and have a pleasant day.